Cup game, one Challenge Cup game, are they?
Well, nobody's going to read anything into a Challenge Cup game at the Sky Dome because we never win in the Sky Dome. It's a massive bogey arena for us. We never come out of there feeling very good. I mean, I think the last time we actually won in the Sky Dome, I was watching on the webcast because I was ill, and so that might be the formula for the future. The way things have started, it's been okay. I think potential is the key word, really. We've had quite a few, I don't know if I dare say, unacceptable late arrivals, really. So there's been a very sort of bitting and bobbing, kind of juggling of the team going on, which is a little bit frustrating. But potential is definitely the word I would use to sum up the team as it is at the moment.
Obviously, you're looking at your goaltending, and nothing much has changed there. You've got Mika back and Dan Green's there. So it's kind of steady as she goes as far as that's concerned, and you're quite happy with that? Well, yeah, I mean, you say that. I mean, we've actually got 2 in-point netminders. Don't know if you missed that. We've got Jindrik Packle, and he actually did get the start at Coventry. So that was an interesting one. Dan Green didn't get a look in at all. It was Mika Weekman as the backup, and he did pretty well. But I think somebody forgot to mention to him about the Sky Dome's god awful goal pegs that come off whenever they're breathed on. Much like the ones at Braehead. So you better get used to it for Saturday.
I know. Yeah, well, it's. No idea. We've no idea who's going to be the starter from day to day. There's sort of rumours that Weekman maybe got a tweak while he was over in Amiens at the pre-season tournament there. So, that may be something to do with why we've got Packle in the first place. But he did pretty well. He seems a very mobile goaltender. He's, he made some really good saves. Yeah, one thing that I will say, it's good that we have got Packle in if Weekman is carrying an injury, which, was sort of rumoured, because the weight that we had for Madalora coming in last season, I mean, you guys know that the weight for, an import netminder while you're injured, you had your injury to Holt and you were waiting for Fullerton coming in.
Yes, it bodes well for the coming season as well. You also, you refresh my memory, your D, there was a few guys coming in and out over the course of the season as well, but all, was guys that getting replaced because they weren't up to scratch, or was it for other reasons? It just seemed to not be completely settled, but when you got to the playoffs and you got to the business end, that's when it all seemed to kind of click for the D. Obviously you lost Brian Schmidt to retirement, Kevin Twix went to Asia, but you've kept a kind of core there, and you've got some new guys in. What's your take on the new guys?
The new guys so far, Sertic, I am quite impressed with. I think he's been pretty solid. He's quite mobile. He's a definite attacking defenseman. Spang, I'm not quite sure about just yet. I saw him in the pre-season game down in Coventry, and he looked a bit sluggish, but he'd stepped off a plane less than 48 hours earlier, so you can't really fault him for that. But the lot of reports coming back from Amiens that he was absolutely stunning over there. He does seem to be. He's got a good, experienced head on his shoulders. He looks to be quarterbacking one of the power play units, so something which we definitely need. I mean, our power play has been nothing to shout about for a little while, so we could do with a bit of success with that.
He's certainly got a pedigree, Spang, hasn't he? He's been all over, played in the top leagues, KHL, CHL, AHL, DEL last year at Hamburg, so, you'd be expected to be able to do a job in this league, wouldn't you? Yes, I would expect so. It's typical of the kind of recruitment that Nielsen and Strachan go for. Somebody, there's at least one guy in our D-Corps who's got that sort of level of experience. Spang seems to be the guy for our defence this season. And are you taking off your black armband yet for Cam leaving?
Oh no, I think we're all still busy crying into our overpriced pints at the NIC. I know exactly what you're getting at.
Well, we're happy to see him go, aren't we, Jennifer?
Yeah. I'm sure you're all absolutely delirious.
It's kind of strange, Graham. I think you made the point, didn't you, about the other teams, kind of the Cam effect?
Yeah, it's just it's strange that everyone else tooled up for this season. And there's absolutely no doubt that that's largely because of what Cam Jansen brought to the league last year, and now he's gone. So yeah, the irony is pretty strong, and it must be said. But I don't know. For me, Cam Jansen was the sort of player that really the league needs. Good. He does the media well. He's now going to go and do that for a living. But he's good for the league in terms of exposure, personality, fun character, and lots to talk about on the ice as well. Didn't do us any favours last season, that's for sure. But sorry to see him go. So it came late in the day for the Panthers fans. So it must have been an absolute shocker.
It came out of nowhere. We're all really excited and ready to get him back. I mean, I was at the sponsors event when it was announced that he'd signed the 2-year contract, and there was just a massive cheer in the room, and everybody was just really, great, fantastic, a bit of proactive signing of players before the season's even ended, because we just don't do that. We'd never do that. I mean, the last time I can remember that happening was when Craig Kowalski was signed on a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year extension, and I mean he saw that 3 years out. So I mean that tells you how long ago it was.
Obviously, you're looking at some of the other guys you lost. Back to retirement. I mean, he was a crucial player for you guys a lot of the season as well. Kolnick going to the LNAH was a bit of a strange one. Is that close to where he lives?
No.
No? What was he doing going there?
No.
That's a bit strange. I couldn't think the reason for it.
No, I don't know. I mean, there was an offer on the table for him, and it took an awful long time for the Panthers to sort of, continue recruitment, thinking that he's going to, he's not going to come back. So, I think right up until the announcement was made that he wasn't coming, or the announcement was made that we were signing somebody else, as I say, that offer seemed to be under consideration. I think it was personal reasons, why he didn't actually take it up. So then when he goes and signs in the LNAH, it was just an odd one. I still don't quite understand it myself.
Obviously, Evan Mosey get his chance to go to the AHL, which he was another big player for you guys. And Matthew Myers going back to Cardiff. I don't think that was a surprise to anybody, was it? It's
not. No, not at all. Matthew Myers, bless him, I think he came to Panthers, as a sort of, I'd really like to still play in the Elite League, and would you perhaps consider giving me a contract, or maybe the Panthers were we'll see if we can make it work, Matthew, that kind of thing. No surprise at all that he's gone back to Cardiff. I mean, now that the waters have calmed down there somewhat, and they've got decent management behind them, no surprise that he was going. And again, Evan Mosey, losing him in the same season as we lose Cam Jansen, the same off season, that was absolutely awful. I wish him the absolute best of luck. I mean, I was Evan Mosey's sponsor, one of his sponsors while he was here for the whole 2 years as well. So that it was an extra sort of little elbow in the chest for me as well. But I really hope he does really, really well over there. And if he can find his way back to Nottingham on his way out of his career, then that's fine. I'm sure we'll be more than happy to take him, because I don't think he'll ever lose those jets.
And you've got new guys in. Have you had much a chance to see the likes of Jeff Brown, Matt Carter, Lindhagen? Is it Nicky Forrock? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah. I think you've probably got it about right. Yep. I don't think you're too far off the mark with that pronunciation, mate. Yes. No? Carter is the kind of guy who he'll go at players, he'll fight in the corners, and he knows where the net is, despite not being able to find the net past Brian Stewart at Coventry on Sunday, which was a bit of a shame. You can't really fault him for that, because a lot of players struggle with finding the net behind Brian Stewart. So Carter's an exciting one to watch. Lindhagen, or the Swede, as Corey refers to him, he seems to be not wanting to put that sort of monocle on him, but he seems to be the Evan Mosey replacement, if you will. He is a very quick skater. He does play forward and defence, so he's got that utility aspect to him that Mosey kind of brought to us, because he played both positions as well. I mean, aside from the new guys, to be honest, I do just want to point out, I mean, on a personal level, from what I've seen from the games I've watched, Robert Farmer has had an absolutely stunning start pre-season and the game down in Coventry. He's been really, really good. He looks really hungry for it. And Logan McMillan has sort of started as he left off last season. He's throwing the body around and, just sort of making himself available. So, yeah, there's some promising signs coming. The other guy that you mentioned, Nicky Forrick, he's tiny. He is a very, very small guy.
Was he?
You notice him on the ice because he is dwarfed by lots of other players, but he is nippy. He is a nippy guy, and he knows another one that I think he's if he starts finding a bit of form, I think he's going to put some goals away for us.
Cool. So who's the guys we need to watch out for on Saturday? I know it's all, we kind of talk about this as ourselves as well. Yeah. It's a team game, but there's always characters in a team. We talk about Rosehill just now, for example, being that kind of character. Who's the kind of guy you've got this year? I mean, Clarkie's always there, isn't he?
Yeah, Clarkie's part of the furniture. Clarkie. He's omnipresent. I've already mentioned him, but Robert Farmer's having a really good start to his season. Lindhagen, I would say you'd have to watch him because of his speed, because I think he'll catch a few people out. Stephen Schultz, he didn't play on Sunday. I think he had a bit of a niggle, so he got rested. But in pre-season, he seemed to be sort of starting to find his feet again. And in terms of defence, I would say that Sertic is probably still my one to watch there.
Jennifer, what was your view on Robert Farmer when he was here? Were you on his side when he was here?
Yeah, no, that was my first season watching the clan Robert Farmer. To be fair, the first couple of times I watched Robert Farmer, I thought he was an import. But I think you can forget how young he is. What is he, 24, 25? He's still really, really young, so you'll probably find this is him just coming into when he's going to start getting really good.
Because I always started debates on the forum about the best Brit that we've had up to date, and I always said it was Robert Farmer. He certainly scored more points this season than any other Brit that we'd had, and people would just go, "Nah, I don't want him back, I don't want him back." You'd just go crazy stuff. I think it's because he's quite a quiet guy, very unassuming. I think he'd been to, I can't remember if it was this year, last year or the year before. I think he had a girlfriend in Glasgow, I don't know if he still does, and he used to come to some of the clan pre-season games. And, you'd kind of say hello to him and he was like, head down, and, the cat would come over the eyes and stuff. I think he's just not got the big personality, but that doesn't mean he's a bad player, does it, Tina? No,
absolutely not. He's, because I've been a player sponsor, I've been to a few events, and he doesn't, he's not the guy who is the centre of attention, not by a long stretch. So, he's polite and sociable and stuff, but, he's nothing like the guy that sort of goes across to people, and if somebody's run out of a goalie or something, he'll be grabbing him by the scruff of the neck. I don't think you'd ever see him do that outside of the ice.
Tina, just a quick question about the Panthers fans' expectations. You won the Challenge Cup in the playoff final last year. So by most people's measurements, that's a pretty successful season, to say the least. What's your thinking on the Panthers fans' expectations? Obviously, the big prize being the league, but if that doesn't happen for the Panthers and they might win a cup or two, is that going to be enough for the fans?
Oh, it's an interesting question. I mean, we've had debates about that on our own podcast. Panthers fans' expectations are always high. There's no two ways about it. We are a very demanding fan base as a whole. Winning the cup and the playoffs, it was a wonderful feeling, but we will never get away from I think most of it comes from our nearest and dearest, the Steelers, winning the league so regularly. And the fact that we've done it twice in 57 years, it doesn't really appease the die-hard, long-term Panthers fan. I mean, but our inability to put together a sustained challenge over the whole season, I think it niggles at us a little bit. So, whilst winning the Challenge Cup and the playoffs feels good, I think that there is a certain breed of Panthers fan that won't be happy until we start winning the league on a regular basis. And I just don't know if that's possible at the moment. I don't know if the club is in the right place to be able to do that. I'd like to be wrong. I would very much like to be wrong about that. But we really do make a lot of winning the Challenge Cup and the playoffs. And it's almost like, we've won the Challenge Cup and the playoffs, so don't worry about the fact that we didn't win the league, but we do worry